What's up, y'all? It's TruthTiger, and I'm here to tell y'all that your emotional support is underrated and very underappreciated, and oftentimes is not really noticed or recognized until you are gone. The thing about this world is not a lot of people have true empathy. People fake empathy and say that they care, but most people, through their actions and through what's truly in their heart, do not really care about other people and are just really very self-interested. And if someone gets sick or something, they'll say, "Oh man, that's a shame, they got sick, and we're so sorry to hear that." But really, they're just performing. It's performative empathy. Performative empathy. Not real, true empathy from the heart. It's just a mask, it's a smokescreen. And people who actually truly care about others and want to look out for others and help others, and people who want to support others, give words of encouragement to others, tell other people that they can do it, that they got this, that's actually very rare to have that capability. And I can tell you that, a lot more people lean on you and rely upon you to get through the day than you think. A lot more people need you than you think. You're way more needed than you know, and the reason why people need you is because you are a loving, emotionally supportive person. You have the light of truth in your mind and in your heart, and you can guide people through things, and you can dispel all the illusions and show people what is truly going on. But in your personal life, that's going to be underappreciated a lot. I can tell you on this channel, what I do here, it's very appreciated. I know all of you really appreciate me a lot, but when I do this for people in my personal life, it's not really that appreciated. And, there's been a lot of people who have definitely seeked me out for emotional support. Not all of them underappreciated it. Some people really appreciated the help that I gave them, but a lot of people are going to seek you out as a therapist of sorts. You're the emotional support friend, I guess is the way to put it. I literally had someone say that to me. I was out at an event with some people, and just some random person is like, "You're the emotional support friend." And I'm like, I didn't really know what to do with that, but I thought about it later. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am, And the thing also is, most people are not on emotionally good ground. Mentally and emotionally, they're not in a very good place. I've been in bad places mentally and emotionally too. We all have. I'm not saying that as a judgmental thing, but a lot more people than you think are in emotionally bad places. There's people who have good jobs, who maybe come from decent families, who still have a lot of emotional issues. And, a lot more people than you think are, taking antidepressants and, whatever, doing stuff like that. And again, I'm not judging it. I never got there, but maybe just because I didn't want to take a pill. But, a lot more people than you think are struggling emotionally. And a lot more people than you think are sinking down into the muck. I would say it's the majority of people. And the thing is, a lot of people, they kind of feel threatened by your emotional support. They feel threatened by the help that you give them. A lot of people, it's like you're going to rescue them. You're going to throw them, it's like they're drowning in the water, and you throw them a buoy. Not a buoy, but like one of those life ring things. You throw them a life jacket. You throw them a life preserver. And a lot of people, they'll pull out a little knife, and they'll pop it, and they'll say, "I don't want your help. I'd rather drown than be helped by you." Or you'll try to reach into the water and pull them out, and they'll try to drag you in there so you can drown with them. A lot of people will unfortunately have that kind of a negative response and don't help those people out. With those kind of people, they're just gonna spit in your face, essentially. That's kind of related to the teaching of not throwing your pearls before swine. That has more to do with not giving wisdom and knowledge to people who are not going to accept it. That has more to do with that, but it's the same basic concept of you try to do something good for people and they just freaking stab you in the back for it. So I've had to deal with that a good amount, whereas people I'm really trying to help out, trying to support, trying to be real nice to, real helpful to, trying to do everything I can, and then I get stabbed in the back in the end. And there have been people who I've helped out who genuinely taken my advice and have genuinely, appreciated me. And there's people who almost, they can just kind of see me and they can already, get the vibe that I'm someone to help out. There's a guy I used to work with who, not that closely with, but he was in the same building as me, and he was, he was in a bad relationship. It was not going good with him and his girl, and, she was probably a narcissist or covert narcissist or something. He was trying to leave, and she was, cutting his clothes up or smashing his stuff when he said he was going to break up with her or something. So, I talked to him about it a lot and told him he had to get out, and he was real cool. So there's people who want your help, and who are going to appreciate your help. But most people, they're not really going to. And a lot of people also, they'll take your advice and they'll, tell you about their problems and get emotional support from you. But when you need some help, they're not going to be there for you. When you need some help, they're not really going to be there for you. And they're going to forget pretty quickly the power of your words of encouragement. Words of encouragement are very, very powerful. I can tell you with my mom, my mom, she's not good with driving. Driving a car makes her very anxious. And I remember this was several years back, but, and there's problems with my mom. She's not really a part of my life right now because she can be kind of toxic and whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I remember back when she was still a part of my life, I remember she's driving the car and I'm telling her, hey, you're doing a good job. You're driving safe. You're in your lane. You're driving safe. You're doing a great job with this. And I remember, I could see, in her eyes, that really meant a lot to her, and that she was not really receiving that same kind of positive encouragement from other people in her life. My dad would just be like, you're driving too slow. It's a race. It's a contest, and I'm faster. And, it's a very mean world out there. The world tries to put on a nice mask of love and kindness, but really the world is very mean and very selfish, and most people do not receive these words of encouragement from anybody. Not from their own parents, not from people around them, not from their husband or wife, not from really anybody. And the fact that you're giving words of encouragement, it's a very rare thing. And, it's not something they're going to get from other places. And a lot of people really do take your positivity for granted. And I'll get back to my previous point about people feeling legit threatened. There have been people where I tried to be nice to, I tried to be kind to, and they took it always the wrong way. They took it as a threat. They took it as a problem. I'll go back to my mom again, where I remember back when I was still talking to her, she's telling me she's whatever, her and my dad are divorced and stuff, and she's telling me she's doing these dating apps and whatever. She's like, these guys are giving me compliments, and they're making fun of me, and they're insulting me, and they're being mean and whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're just trying to, be nice, break the ice, start a conversation. I think they're just trying to be positive and just try to give you some cool energy. But she could not accept that, and there's a lot of dynamics like that. I'm watching this TV show called Ted Lasso, and it's about this American football coach who goes to Europe, goes to England to coach football, soccer, and I'm not going to give the full recap, but the show is a lot about people's emotions. There's a lot of psychology in that show, and in that show there's a sports psychologist that works with the team, and the main character, Ted Lasso, he's so positive and nice to everybody, but this therapist, he feels very threatened by her. He doesn't want to open up to her, and he's just really kind of bad to her. And I'm she's the one person who could help him through his psychological issues. And this is a TV show. It's a little cheesy. It's not true to real life, but that part of it I thought was where he's just being super difficult. And I'm just thinking this is the one person who could help you, and you keep storming out of the therapy sessions and not willing to open up. And this and that. And the thing is, in real life, eventually, the people who are trying to help you out, you know, eventually those people are going to be like, all right, I'm trying to help this person. They're treating me like crap. I'm not going to stick around and wait for the breakthrough and just be like, I'm going to be a little more patient with them. Like, that's not usually how it goes. Usually those kind of people, they want someone to kick around. And they think because you're a nice person, you can take it. And that because you're this, you're a decent person and you're mature, that you can take it. And they can just kick you around with, just kick you around and treat you weird. And it's no problem. And it's a big problem. It's a huge issue, actually, you know, and I've encountered that a lot, where people think that because I'm a decent guy, they can just kick me around and make me into a punching bag and treat me weird. And the thing is like, I resent those people, and I don't rock with those kind of people, because, again, if I'm trying to help someone and they're just going to hurt me and attack me and, you know, treat me weird and try to mess me over, I'm not good with that at all. And the thing is, a lot of people are so committed to evil, they're so committed to the devil, they're so on the side of evil, that there will be a lot of people that they'll see that you're a nice, decent person, and they will try to destroy you. They will try to wreck you. They will try to take you out and mess you over in any way they can. You know, I've had to deal with that. And a lot of people will just treat you like complete crap because you're a decent person. You know, for real. And it's just something that, like, it's ridiculous. So be careful who you give your time to. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you want to lift up, because I want to lift up everybody. I want to be nice to everybody. Even when I was really in the hole and I was very depressed and in a dark place, I still wanted to help people. I still wanted to be positive and encouraging. I'm the type of person who wants to give people that pick-me-up. I want to give people that compliment. I want to give people those positive words, you know. And the thing is, it's like, don't underestimate the effect of your words. Like, just a little pick-me-up can mean a lot to someone, you know. And just listening to people. Just people have stuff they're nervous about, and they just want to bounce it off someone. They want to talk to someone. They don't want to feel like they're doing it alone. And just that little thing where I'll listen to people, talk to people, you know, that's just like, it's worth so much more than you think. And people don't put very much value on it. They don't put very much weight on it, but it's really worth a lot. It really is. But man, like, it will go very, very underappreciated, you know. Just, I mean, even in the New Testament, I think Paul talks about, like, words of encouragement. And that's like one of the spiritual gifts next to, like, healing and ministering and stuff like that, you know, is literally just words of encouragement. Like, just a word of encouragement is such a powerful thing. Like, kind words, like, you know, being genuine, not just like someone's being like, oh man, like, I'm really struggling, I don't know what to do here, I don't know what's going on, I need someone to talk to, that, bro, you're fine, do it, you know. I'm not talking about that. I'm actually talking about sitting down with someone and really giving them good advice, being realistic, helping them out, you know. Or the stuff your mom will say, oh honey, it'll all work out in the end. And it's like, when you're really struggling with something, and it's, I'm not talking about just giving someone some quick boilerplate stuff and just like, just telling them something to kind of get them off your back, or just being overly positive or overly optimistic about a situation, when sometimes you'll need to tell someone, like, hey, you got to leave that job, you got to leave that person, you got to set boundaries, you got to say no, you know. Sometimes that's the advice. It's not always just like, it'll work out, it'll be fine, don't even worry, like, you know. And there's times where, you know, you want to tell people to not worry also, you know. There's definitely a time and a place for that, to say, hey, don't worry about it, you know. That can definitely be important, but, you know, it's important to also take the time to really listen, take the time to see what's going on, you know. And, you know, you're that person. You try to help people. You try to take the time to listen. And it's quite underrated, and it's quite underappreciated, and people don't really value that in our society. In our society, people value money, people value popularity, people value these very I guess carnal kind of things. They value popularity, they value just like strength and power. They value someone who will play the role of victim and say I'm being pushed down and it's so unfair, and they value all that kind of stuff, which is about the ego. But, you know, genuinely decent people who are genuinely trying to help people, genuinely trying to improve things, people who genuinely care, genuine love and care is pushed to the bottom in our society. And genuine love and care is more important than money, more important than being big and tough, and, you know, more important than being egotistical, more important than being self-important, more important than, you know, making yourself into this big victim, and, you know, more important than all of that stuff. It's far more important, but our priorities are way off, and people want the wrong stuff. People would rather gossip about a friend who's not there than have love and kindness, you know? A lot of people would much rather be about drama and BS than be about actual love and kindness, you know? It's just the truth. But your love and kindness that you have, it's so much more valuable than any of that. And you emotionally support people and holds up situations and help out with situations so much more than you know. And again, I'll circle back to the very beginning of this video before the end. And oftentimes it's only when you leave that people really realize what they lost. And people really understand what you were giving to them, because now they don't have it. And a lot of these people are actually very lost without you. Once you leave, they're incredibly lost. And some of the people who were the most narcissistic, who really treated me the worst, are going to be the people who are going to be by far the most lost without me. Are going to be the people who are honestly cooked without me in their life. Like, I could think of several people that are like that it's just like, I really tried to be nice, they treated me like crap, and now they're stuck. They have no one to listen to their problems. They have no one to support them. And it's like, man, I gave you all that support and all that love, and I gave so much of my time and energy to you to help you out, and you treated me like crap. And then when you leave with a lot of these people, they flip out. They can't handle it. They get clingy, possessive, crazy, sending you a million text messages and stuff, and it's like, nah, it's done. And then there's people who, they feel very threatened. They can't be vulnerable. They can't open up. And they're afraid to have a real connection with someone because they could lose that. And then there's people who will just run away from you and abandon you and just, you know, ghost you and stuff. And it's just like, well, whatever. Okay, you know. And the thing about that is you have that energy for yourself too. That's not just for other people. You have that for yourself, and you can stand very solidly on your own. You don't need all these people's approval and all these people's emotional support, which most of them are not capable of giving you. You can stand on your own. So yeah, your emotional support, it's so underrated. It's the most underrated attribute in the entire game, and it's so underappreciated. Most people don't even care, and they don't even realize what they lost until you are long gone. So yeah, you know, take heart and, you know, value yourself too. Value yourself and realize that, like, you're very needed. Like, people need you so much more than you think, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that. That's probably a separate video. I don't want to ramble on too long, but people need you so much more than they know. You hold up so much stuff in the background, like, oh my gosh, you know, oh my gosh. Like, if you're a loving, positive person, you hold up so much stuff in the background, and people want to act like you don't even do nothing, but you're doing so much. And when you step away, that stuff falls down. So value yourself, value what you have, value the gift that you have, and don't let nobody get it on discount. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Much love. God bless. And I will see you all next time.